It came down to a point where I was thinking, can I continue to be unhappy internally with these blinders on? Or am I going to choose to live my truth and deal with the consequences, whatever those may be? I had that moment where I was like, are there any trans people in the military? Like, I don't know. Growing up, I have pretty much always felt just like a little boy. Like, knew I was a little boy, felt like a little boy. And it wasn't really until I started hitting puberty where I was being like told like I need to wear shirts around the house. I remember I used to like pray like, oh, if I can't be a guy in this life, I want to be a guy in the next life. I felt like I couldn't do obviously anything about it as a kid, and I just lived life like that for a really long time. When I was stationed in DC, I went out one night and there's this guy that's sitting across from me, and he starts talking and we're listening to him, and somewhere in the midst of that conversation, he discloses to us that he's trans. I am absolutely fascinated because I had never actually met a trans person. Him and I talked for a while, and I remember expressing to him, which was, I think, probably the first person that I ever really said it out loud to, that I think that I'm trans. So I would Google like trans, like plus military, just to see what would pop up, and you don't get a lot of results. You don't get anything. And I remember thinking like, here I am again, stuck in this place where I can't take the steps toward being the person that I am. Can you wait? I just kept asking myself that question. Can you wait to do hormones? Can you wait to do surgeries? Can you continue to go all these years being misgendered, to be two different people on the military side and the civilian side? At the end of the day, that was just something I didn't want to do.
Inject it in. Done.
That was easy breezy.
Yeah, it's not hard at all. You're going to be a little intimidated the very first time you go to poke yourself.
Once I begun chemically transitioning within the military, I made the decision to kind of out myself. And I knew what that meant, and it was sad, and it was something that I weighed heavily. Yay! Hey everyone, Taryn Mitchell here, formerly known as Tashara Michelle. Most of you know me as T. Tonight, I'm going to go over a few questions in regards to my transition from female to male.
Effective immediately, transgender Americans may serve openly, and they can no longer be discharged or otherwise separated from the military just for being transgender.
I felt just like I could breathe because it didn't feel like I had to like duck and dodge and have to fly under the radar anymore, it's daunting. You can't really be yourself every day. People don't realize like how much you're kind of dimming your light.
When we originally had the conversation that he was going to transition, he said to me, do you want to go through with this or do you want to get out of it? And I said, I'm here for the process. And so because of that promise that I made, I think that's what helped me hold on, is that I knew it was a process. We both knew it was going to be a process, and we both knew it wasn't going to be easy because they're completely changing the outside and also the inside of who you are. And so I think that promise that we made to each other at that point was like the one thing that we held on to.
And it was also stressful in that moment because that same month we were purchasing our first house and trying to get ready for that, and then we were having the official big wedding.
Kiss the love of your life.
I finally felt like I didn't have to do the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing anymore with my military career, and then trying to balance that with who I am like any other time, which is just like a regular old trans guy. So for me to be able to merge those two things together finally and have them meet and be able to just be a trans service member that is doing their job in the Navy, that was like the most beautiful union that I could possibly want or ask for. During that time of sorting out, I guess, like the system and how things were going to work for trans service members, it had its like ups and downs.
Okay, just 1 second.
When you wait for something to happen for so long and then it's there, but it just has so many different like flaws and holes, you just want it to be perfect. There was a period of time where I was just, my back was kind of against the wall, where I could no longer go to that civilian provider, but the military wasn't quite set up yet for me to have that first appointment. I was down to like probably like my last vial or two for doing my testosterone. So I ended up having to kind of ration that out. I felt like my body was changing backwards and everything was just kind of working and moving backwards. I can kind of feel like the shift of the estrogen trying to like get the upper hand again.
Luckily, I was prepared for that because I had gone through the process of when it all started before, and I was prepared for the roller coaster of anger, frustration, excited, this, that, and whatever other emotion that stirs up. But I could see in him then again that he started to shut down. He started to pull back.
Right now, there's a mismatch between how I see myself and then there's that like dysphoria almost when you go home at the end of the day. You're taking off your clothes and you're standing in the mirror, and sometimes that's the only part of my day where I can see that mismatch happen. My first surgery, I had the full hysterectomy. Evaluate that railing. Just saying.
It doesn't bother you, does it?
Stairs?
Yeah.
No. You smell good. I re-enlisted because I had finally felt comfortable giving my all. Like I felt like I can finally give all of my energy and everything that I have to my service and know that I'll be taken care of.
I felt like my earth shatter. I felt like we had lost everything because my mind went strictly to, oh, what are we gonna do now?
It was also hurtful, like all the people that came out of the woodworks in support of the tweets at the same time. I don't know why, I guess, like why being trans matters so much that you kind of just rip someone away from their life and from their future. It's really cold outside, isn't it? It's cold outside. It is cold outside. They're not even gonna have to put a lot into putting me under because I'm gonna fall asleep all on my own. What do they know? Just nut me up. It's so affirming to walk by a mirror and see the person that I've always seen physically show in the mirror. I feel still really good about the reenlistment now, and I don't feel like anything has changed with that. I still plan and continue to serve, and that's still what I want to do.